welcome to the Next in Line podcast, where we are helping to prepare you for whatever is next in line. As always, I'm your host, Chance Pitts, and I would like to thank you for tuning into this episode. Guys, first and foremost, happy Monday, getting into a new week, getting things rolling. If you're not listening on a Monday, or if you don't know, we do drop new shows every Monday and Thursday for the podcast. To get those notifications and to keep up with what's going on, make sure you go to whatever platform you listen to us on, and go ahead and subscribe to us, guys. Also, make sure you leave a rating and review. Let us know how we're doing, and then share the show if it brings value to you with someone who could also receive value from the show. That's the only way for us to grow and move in the positive direction, and that's our goal, is to just grow and reach as many people as possible. You can also check us out for daily content if you want to keep up with us on social media. That's at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm very excited to get things moving in the right direction and dive into this week, guys. So for those of y'all that don't know or haven't been keeping up, I do have a 100K Ultra Marathon on Saturday. We've been working a long time moving that direction, getting ready for those things. My dad is doing the 50 miler as well at Brazos Bend over in Needville, so we're very excited about that race, putting last minute preparations on, making sure we don't overstress this weekend, do a little carb loading, and making sure that we're staying hydrated as well. Before I get too far into the podcast today, I did want to address something from last week's show. I did a podcast over the is what it is mentality, and I got some kickback from some people. I actually had a few people reach out and say, that's the mindset I adopt, to just say, it is what it is. You just got to deal with it and go and push on. Well, guys, I understand that, and if that works for you, fantastic, but I find for myself that leaves a little too much room for interpretation. Instead of that mindset to use as a way to push forward, I like to try to adopt the mindset of, so what? You found yourself in a hard situation. So what? You lost some money on an investment. So what? You weren't able to achieve that goal in fitness or in the gym that you were wanting to achieve. So what? Go back, work harder, find a way to be successful with that. And I wanted to just drop that in here before I got into this episode, kind of just to let y'all know where I was coming from. If it seemed a little harsh, or if I cut off one of y'all's favorite sayings like I did for a couple different people. But guys, now I would like to dive into the topic for today, which is a topic that has played a very key role in my development process, and I think it's one that we need to understand and try to work to master in order to reach your full potential with development as well. And that topic today that I want to speak on is self-talk, and more importantly, positive self-talk. So let's start out with the basics. What is self-talk? You might be thinking of, maybe you talk to yourself out loud. Maybe you talk to yourself internally within your brain. Self-talk is that voice that you hear, that dialogue that tells you, yeah, I've got this. I believe in myself. Or maybe it tells you, no, there's no way you can do that. Hold up, pump the brakes. We aren't going to be able to achieve that. And it works both ways, and whenever it tells you that you can do something, whenever it tells you you are a capable human being, that is the positive version of your self-talk within yourself. But whenever it tells you that you're not good enough to achieve something, whenever you tell yourself that you're not going to be able to change, or you're the kind of person that has these negative attributes and bad habits in your life and that you can't break them, that is the negative version of self-talk. Like I said, it can be in your head or it can be external. And it's very important because it is the perceived image that you have of yourself. Whenever you say these things out loud, that is what you are actually seeing, and that is actually what you're forming an opinion on of yourself within your brain. And it's very important in every single aspect of your life, guys. It's important in your fitness, your finances, your academics, your career, and even in your relationships as well. The most important thing about this self-talk, guys, is that whatever you say, you bring into your mind. And whenever you bring something into your mind, you will find that it is going to be there permanently. It's something that will always remain within your brain. And when you find those things there and you put those things into your head, your brain starts to build paths and it starts to build relationships between whatever your perception is of how you will handle that action or whether you can do something or not. It will attach that to that action, and whenever you find yourself trying to attempt something hard and you find yourself working towards a goal, you will be less likely to achieve it because you have brought that negativity into your mind and that expectation around what you are doing. So, for instance, if you say that you cannot run a mile, your brain starts to believe that you're the kind of person that can't run a mile. And pretty soon, if you ever attempt to, it's going to be something that seems overbearing and very hard, and you're going to have that negative self-talk pop up almost immediately whenever you attempt to do that. Just like in the gym, if you tell yourself you're never going to be able to lift a certain amount of weight, or maybe it's simpler than that, you're never going to be able to do a pull-up, and you tell yourself these things and you create that image within your brain, those are going to be things that are going to be much harder to achieve. Now, you can overcome that and work through it, but it's going to be something you're going to have to fight through tooth and nail to change, not only in reality, but in your brain as well. Same thing with your finances. If you live paycheck to paycheck, guys, and you say that you can't afford these different things that you want, you can't afford to put money back and save to put your kids through school, or to get that nice fancy car that you want, or to buy land or build a house, whatever it is, your brain will start to believe those things. Guys, do y'all see a theme here in what I'm saying? You've got to transform the way that your self-talk is put out there. You've got to change the things that you say to yourself and within your own head. Guys, that's a massive part of the development journey that you find yourself on. And if you say you don't talk to yourself, or you're somebody that doesn't have that internal dialogue, I would challenge that by saying, think about all the things that you want to do in life. Think about all the things that you would like to do but seem impossible to accomplish. Now, I want you to make a list of those things. And guys, I'll wait. Pull out a pen and paper and go ahead and make that list. And once you have that list in front of you, I want you to do something. Go ahead and crumple it up and throw it away, because you just found that internal dialogue. You found that negativity. You found the voice that's telling you that you cannot do these things. And guys, it's not just something that you are going through in this journey. It's not just you by yourself experiencing these things. I can think of a million different times whenever I've had these experiences of negative self-talk within my life. And it has placed handcuffs on me. It's locked me in a cage. It's put me in a place to where I felt like I was not capable of achieving my goals. For instance, one of those was with my weight. I was always the kind of person that felt like I was just going to be a heavier person. I had gotten to this point in my life, and I was not the kid that run around and played a bunch of sports in high school and was in shape, had abs, all that good stuff. I just didn't feel like I was that kid anymore. I didn't feel like I could ever become that person again. But through diligence and making sure that I formed good habits and going to the gym all the time and running, I was able to form those habits. I was able to overcome that negative self-talk and turn it into something that I knew I was capable of, and I told myself that I knew I could accomplish these things with my health and my weight. Along with that, guys, my running. If you would have told me a year ago that I would be trying to run an ultra marathon almost a year to the day of when I started this journey, I would have laughed at you. Guys, I've had so many times in my life where I thought running was going to be something I really wanted to do, and then as I gained weight and as I got out of shape and formed these bad habits, it seemed so far away. It seemed like a far-fetched thing to ever be able to run a marathon, let alone an ultra marathon. But now I'm here because I changed the way I talk to myself. I changed what I found to be available to me and what I found to be achievable within my life. Same thing with my drinking habits, guys. I used to drink like crazy. I would come home and I would not drink water. I would not drink juice. I would not drink anything like that. It would be a few beers with dinner and then probably one on the nightstand whenever I went to bed. It was a habit that I had to break. It was something that formed in college and within my working career out on the ranch, and it was just something I took along with me. And I thought it was going to be the way that I lived my life, but that's not true. I had to change my mind from being somebody that depended on alcohol and needed it in social occasions, but also to relax at the end of the day at work. And I had to change that habit to somebody that could be successful in society and successful in my own life and cope with things without that crutch. And it's the same thing with my eating habits, guys. I touched on it with fitness, but I used to have the worst eating habits. I would never eat anything green. I would never go out of my way to try to find a healthy option. Anytime anybody ever said anything about hey, this is a good substitute for this. Hey, this is a healthier option for this. I stayed as far away from it as I could. And I had these terrible habits. I ate a ton of fast food, I ate a ton of fried food, and I ate a bunch of processed foods as well. But I had to start thinking about those things as that's not what a healthy person does. So that's not what I do. So I had to grab that self-talk and that positivity and say, look, I'm the kind of person that's going to be a healthy person. I'm the kind of person that eats right and does the right thing and makes good choices and improves my health to get where I want to be and to reach my goals. And same thing with my finances, guys. I won't get too far into this one, but I had to be somebody that learned to become financially literate because I looked at finances and money as this big, scary, and intangible object that was just in front of me, staring me in the face. And I didn't know what to do besides, try to save as much money as I could, maybe buy some cheaper options at the grocery store, buy the generic brand whenever I could. And I thought that was going to be what was going to set me apart and move me in the right direction. But I really had to dive into my finances, dive into that financial literacy, and become the kind of person that made good decisions for myself in that sense. I had to self-talk and move myself over there and start making decisions about my future and my investments that, got me moving in the right direction, got me thinking about those things long term. And it really, really made all the difference in the world. And guys, I've always described myself as someone who wasn't in control of any of those things I just listed, whether it be my weight, my ability to run, drinking, eating, or even my finances. But I had to just reverse all of those mindsets. I had to start talking to myself like I was capable of doing those things, and it made all of the difference. And that's where I was able to keep myself mentally whenever I started to say, look, you're not that guy anymore. You're not the kind of person that screws up on your diet, on your fitness, on whatever. You have to be the kind of person that's going to show up every day and do it right if you really want to see a change in your life. And it's just like the quote says, whenever you start thinking about this self-talk, Henry Ford came out and said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And I've used that quote in a previous podcast, but I think it does a very good job of illustrating something that we do as humans. We place this boundary around ourselves and we put ourselves in these cages that force us to stay where we are, force us to stay in the places that we're not happy being, and keep us in the mindset of being the person that we don't want to be. And that alone was one of the major things that ultimately kept me from achieving anything that I really wanted to achieve. Yes, I found some success in career and some success in school, but those were all things that I felt like I had to do. They were things that I felt like I could find my way in because I had that confidence and I had that ability to talk to myself and move myself in the right direction through the positivity and the self-talk that I gave to myself. And guys, if you're one of those negative people, one of the people that gets off on the negativity, maybe one of the people that draws that picture of themselves in their head as not deserving of love, maybe they deserve the tough love and they deserve all the harsh words, and they try to just bully themselves into finding success, I really encourage you to stop that, because I was that kind of person. But guys, take a note from episode 13 of the podcast and utilize the step back. Take a step back and think about things like this. Guys, if you ran into someone else going through the exact same situation that you find yourself in, struggling with whatever it is that you are struggling with, whether it's diet, fitness, finances, relationship, career issues, or whatever it might be, how would you handle that situation with them? How would you handle encouraging them or motivating them or getting them down the correct path? I'm willing to bet that you would probably hold the standard and push them towards where they need to go. However, you would do it with some form of positivity. Guys, you would probably do this thing through love and probably do it through encouragement. And that's a whole different thing than what we typically do for ourselves. We look at this situation and we see ourselves as the bad guy. We see ourselves as a person that deserves to be punished for all these different things, but we never do these things for other people. Guys, cut yourself some slack. If you don't treat people like that, if you don't talk to people with the same negative things that you say to yourself, you need to stop doing that to yourself. For example, like with the guys, whenever you see one of your friends struggling, that motivation and that encouraging might look like a kind of confidence and a kind of motivation and a kind of hyping that borders cockiness. It's an attitude that you're going to be the baddest son of a gun that walks into something and tries to do something. You pump them up and you get them motivated and moving in the right direction. And though it might sound dumb, it works really well. And to illustrate that, guys, I did this with myself the other night. During this whole phase 3 thing, I actually have to do 10 minutes of active visualization. I have to visualize my goals and how I'm going to get there, what I'm going to do, and just the fact overall that they are something that is attainable within my life. And I had some things shaking my confidence at the time. I was actually up in Dallas on Thursday, staying up there for work, and I was in the hot tub recovering from my workouts and my long runs, just kind of soaking in there, letting my muscles relax. And I had some different things on my mind, guys. I had the upcoming race, I had my job on my mind, I had next in line, the development movement we have going on here, and just a variety of other things as well. And guys, whenever I was sitting there and I was trying to do the visualization, I was struggling at first. But I decided to focus on a target that was coming up quick. I decided to focus on the positivity associated with my race that I have coming up. And for 10 straight minutes, I focused on how I was going to achieve my best effort and not the negative things and all the problems and the potential issues that I could find myself facing. I focused on the way that I pushed myself and trained for this event harder than anything I've ever done in my life. And then, guys, I made sure to put that self-talk in. I started talking out loud. There was nobody around me at the time. And I really talked to myself, and I talked about the things that I've been through and the confidence that I should have and my ability to achieve the goals that I had set for myself whenever I signed up for this race. And guys, whenever I did that, I started to build my confidence. I started hyping myself up. And wouldn't you know it, that level of confidence, like I said, just built and built and built until when that 10 minutes was finally up, I was ready to pretty much take on the world, guys. I was ready to run that race that night, barefoot in my swim trunks, straight out the hot tub. And guys, it was a motivation and a confidence that I hadn't seen in a long time. And it all stemmed from sitting there and talking to myself and encouraging myself and telling me that I was able to do those hard things. And it's carried through this week, guys. I'm still feeling it going into Monday, getting ready to take on the week and really gear up for the race that I have coming. And I know that I am better for that conversation that I have with myself, that self-talk. So guys, as you get ready to roll into this week, I want you to find a target. I want you to pick out a goal within your life. I want you to strive for something hard and aim to achieve something that is truly tough and might seem a little bit out of your reach right now. But guys, you got to start to make that change. You've got to start to incorporate the positive self-talk whenever you look at achieving those things. You've got to make sure that you seek out the negative self-talk that you're putting into your life and getting it transformed and converted into positive conversation with yourself. Catch yourself when you start to say, I can't do this, or I'm not the kind of person that's able to do that, or, I'd like to do that, but I just can't for whatever reason and whatever excuse. Guys, remember though, you do have to cut yourself some slack. Find that positivity because you would do it for someone else. You would be able to stop and separate the pressure that you put on that situation whenever you're talking to your wife, your best friend, your kids, your buddy from work, or your coworkers. You'd be able to make that separation and encourage them rather to tear them down with the things that they cannot do. And I'm not saying lower your standards of success at all. But guys, don't put yourself down. Be sure to build yourself up. Understand that the most important tools that you have in most situations are your confidence in your ability and a strong work ethic to achieve those things. Guys, couple those two tools with positive self-talk, and I dare anything, whatever challenge within your week and within your life, to come your way because it will be beat. Guys, thank y'all for tuning into this episode of the Next in Line podcast. As always, if you received value from this episode, make sure you're sharing it with like-minded people who might also receive that same value. Also, make sure you're checking us out on social media. That's at Next in Line Development. Guys, please feel free to reach out to us as well. If we can do anything to help you prepare for whatever it is in life that's coming your way, whatever is next in line for you, we will be happy to do so. So guys, make sure you keep battling, have a good week, and always be prepared for whatever is next in line.